What's up, guys? Tonight is going to be a video primarily a response to Ryan's comment. He's made a comment on my first video about God, describing why he thinks that it is not necessary to believe in God in the modern world. Yesterday, I described the positive reasons to have faith and hope, two very common uh, aspects of religion, including in the modern day, and the importance of, or rather, the power and the benefits to having faith and hope even in the modern day. Today, I'm going to kind of take a step back, re-examine my perspective of why God was important to our growth as a species, and simultaneously describe my thoughts on why I agree we do not need God, or at least not the traditional separate from humans God of the past in modern day society. So, the thing that Ryan had mentioned was that the belief in God, or in particular organized religions, tends to be at odds with science. While this is definitely mostly true, there are also great Christian scientists, and I don't mean in the weird like trying to prove Christian scripture kind of scientists, but I mean like literally they are scientists that do legitimate science, using the scientific method, reproducible results and experiments. But they also are deeply Christian, like, for example, Nikola Tesla. Now, I don't think that he was Christian. Actually, I don't quite remember. I do know that he believed in God, and he believed in infinity, and he believed that we will never prove infinity, but still believed it. Also, I forgot the guy's name, but the guy who actually created the Big Bang Theory, he used that. That was kind of almost one of those woo-woo, spiritual kind of Christian scientists, or at least with this theory, where he was essentially trying to prove how Genesis happened, or at least trying to come up with theories. And then it became a very popular and accepted theory in modern science. I personally think that it's very likely that the Big Bang Theory is true. We obviously have no way of knowing, and I don't think we ever will, unless somehow we find a way to break the time barrier, find a way to look back in time, like actually look back in time. But chances are we won't. Regardless, I do think, or I do still see the point that Ryan was making, that most religious figures that are into science are doing it primarily just to prove these obvious falsehoods, or these concepts that either don't need proving in a scientific manner, but rather proving by an individual experiential manner, and I guess anecdotal in that sense. But there's still value in that. I can get to that at another video. But yeah, they tend to not actually focus on reproducible results, and through that they're kind of not scientists. They're not truly scientific. Not to mention the clear correlation of people that believe in God that are totally against evolution being possible, or against the thought or the concept that climate change could actually be happening and could actually be man-made. So yeah, there's definitely a valid point there, and I agree for the most part. There's also a lot more than that, a lot of other reasons why I think that God is just not quite aligned with modern thought. The primary one that comes to mind, and there's a plethora of them, but the one that really hits me the hardest is the idea of servitude. Now, servitude, being in service of others, is fantastic. It's a great, great thing, unless you are doing it out of a sense that you are lesser than them. If you are actually wanting to serve others because of a deep-seated sensation, a deep-seated belief that you are not as good as they are, and so you don't deserve to be at an equal playing field with them, that you must serve them in order to get by, there's no possible way that that is actually beneficial to the human psyche. It's just purely damaging. Oh, that's my light. Alright. 1 second. Hey now. Hey now. Stop that. Well, looks like that sound is just going to be here. Anyway, there's... Great, and now the AC went on. Whatever. Where was I? It was about servitude. Oh, yeah. Servicing others is actually fantastic. It's a great way to invigorate yourself. It's a great way to help your community. It's a great way to learn about yourself and about others. A great way to connect and relate to others. A great way to build relationships. A great way to collaborate in order to build more everything. Awesome groups. I mean, groups are based in the sense of in the idea of serving each other, and this is fantastic. This is one of the prime building blocks of human society. However, it must be done. The servitude must be done out of a sensation of a desire, an actual desire to help others, rather than a sensation of feeling lesser. Now, the reason why I believe in God doesn't work in modern society, in my opinion, and why it actually holds you back as a human being, is because it innately puts yourself below this other being. It innately puts you in that first category of people that are serving merely because you believe that you are lesser. And while it may have some benefits to, belief in God may have some benefits in explaining away your existence, I really take that as a weaker perspective, and a perspective that will not benefit you in the long run. It's better to face your existence head on and believe that you are not lesser than others. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't some form of God that exists. This is merely the form of God that Christians follow, and that Islamists follow, Muslims, Islamists. Regardless, yeah, it's the idea of an external God that you are not a part of and is not a part of you. I do actually think that there could be a God that you are a part of. That's the way that if I believe in God, if there's any way that I could believe in God, it is that we are essentially the cells of God. A lot of people say that God is the universe and we are a part of the universe, and I agree with that for the most part. Or that God is nature and we are a part of nature. The friend of mine that I had mentioned the past two videos that I've had the most philosophical and spiritual, religious and political discussions with, he says that he believes that God is thought, which I really like this idea. It's essentially saying that God is the energy that, or is a form of energy that is not, that it must describe itself. It is not, it's indescribable, and so therefore it must describe itself in order to create its own existence. And that is, that's the way the thought is. We have no idea quite what thought is, but we can still look at our own thoughts and describe them using thought in a weird loop that is almost magical, that we just can't explain. It's consciousness itself. So yeah, I really like this idea of God. If I were to believe in a God, it would be something like this. Another perspective is that God is the dreamer. It is the observer. It's another perspective that I like a lot. The dreamer, in the sense that God is currently asleep and the universe is its dream. Or the observer, in the sense that God is still awake but is observing the universe. This does also align with the idea that God is thought. Because I don't know, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, if God is the observer, that would mean that we are essentially a part of God, and that God is a part with us, because we observe ourselves, we observe our own life, and we observe the universe as well. And so that to me does not put me at a lower point than God. Maybe it means that I'm not technically as powerful, but I'm not also lesser. I'm not less important. I'm not less necessary. And with that, I can use that energy along with the energy of having faith in life and having hope if I have nothing else, in order to launchpad myself further into a positive existence. There was something else I was going to mention about this, but I don't quite remember. If I do, I will leave a comment down below. I also encourage other people, please leave comments down below on your thoughts on the subject. To recap, I do believe that God was necessary for our existence, for our evolution as a species. However, today, I believe the concept of God, of an external God, is only detrimental to our own psyche. And that if there is any concept of God that is beneficial, it is a concept that includes us as a part of God. So that way we can align ourselves purely with this powerful whatever. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something or anything like that. Or at least found it interesting. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. I really love talking about this stuff, and I have a feeling I'm going to be talking about philosophy a lot more during this 30-day challenge. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Peace.